their goal vision right now.
So thank you so much for inviting me to do a power speech. Thank you so much to the future caller. And I guess it's not a coincidence that you have this event on the Women Equal Pay Day. You know, women are still paid 13% less than men. It means that basically from the 15th of November, all women work for free for the rest of the year. Of course, that seems to be like a funny statement, but it is actually quite true. So I will talk to you a little bit about how it is to be a woman in the tech industry, the world's best industry, according to me. I'm the Secretary General of Digital Europe. We represent 45,000 digitalizing companies in Europe. And what do? We work with a digital policy, with digital investment. We are, you can say, the private sector partner that works with the EU Commission, the EU Council and Parliament and the member states on how to regulate and invest in digital technologies. So a big thank you for giving me this opportunity today. Let me start by saying that, you know, if we look back, we have come a long, long way. So you see here on the screen Ada Lovelace. She was out of a very, very wealthy family, which gave her at that time in the 1850s, 40 and 50s, the opportunity of even, you know, doing some kind of intellectual studying and looking at math. At that time, it was absolutely unthinkable that you would give an education to women like this. She is also considered the first computer programmer, or the one who actually understood that a computer could be more efficient and work differently from a calculator. So at that time, and for many, many years, she was not acknowledged, and her findings were not seen as real science because she was a woman. And at that time, as I said, anything, if you did not have a family who could allow you to do this, you know, any woman would never have that opportunity. Well, we've come a long way, but there is still a way to go. I wanted to bring to your attention that in the tech sector, we actually have quite a number of super cool women CEOs, CTOs, innovators of technology. Here are some of them. You have Morati, who's the CTO of OpenAI, so really the future. We have Hurt, who is CEO of Bumble. We have Phil, who is the CTO of Novartis, really looking at how to do medicine to improve health. And that is really based on data, you know, analytics of big data and AI to actually find those solutions on health today. We have Crystal Heidemann, who I know very well, the CEO of Orange, and Meg Whitman, former CEO of both eBay and HP. So I could continue like that. And of course, if you look at digital policy, you have Vestager, you have myself, you have Lise Fuhr, a lot of people who are active in digital, women who are active in digital policy. However, the numbers speak for themselves. And worth to noticing is that we're in the Western world, we're in Europe. We are where the progress is continuing. But if you look at progress in other continents of the world, well, it's actually going backwards. So yes, we need to fight for ourselves. We need to fight for equality, not only for women and men, but for different sexualities and age, etc., diversity. However, other places in the world, this is really going in the wrong direction. We see both in US, talking about the abortion laws. We see in Hungary, not allowing abortion, etc. So there are actually countries that are moving backwards on women's rights. And that we need to also take a responsibility for. So let's look a little bit at my career. What did I do? Well, I started my very early career. I studied international business administration, and I moved into working in IBM while I was still studying. And I was lucky to be chosen as one of the 5 that continued in a job in a fixed position. And I grew from IBM to Oracle to being the CEO of a smaller company to starting my own company, sell off, president of the board, general director, all of a sudden advisor to NATO and the European Commission. How did I do that? I mean, and how did I manage? First of all, I think there was a few things. I actually never realized that it was quite special to be a woman. I have a mother who is a very famous professor in toxicology, and a father who is an engineer. Both had international careers, and I never realized that there was a difference and expectations were different on me. Maybe from my surroundings, I did understand that, you know, compared to other girls, I was not really fitting into the pattern of, you know, being, you know, the nice girl, doing everything the normal way. However, somehow I succeeded in always, you know, positioning myself as the right one for the job. And then I think I took maybe telling one story. I took a very early kind of experience where I realized that I was being treated unfair. I was a 1 out of 5. The other were 4 men who was hired into the first company that I worked in. And I was the only one who was given a very high sales quota, which is totally okay. I wanted to do that. I like to be measured. I don't mind that. But I was working. We are talking 16 hours a day, you know, also in the weekends, long hours, you know, super ambitious, very, very difficult. And I actually realized that I got the job from 2 former VPs, and I was just like a manager. And at a certain point, I was told, well, you will not get your full bonus because you didn't do your expenses. And I was like, what? I said, but I earned all this. I made a turnaround. I did all this. I'm so sorry. I just didn't have the time. And I went out and I talked to some of the people who had hired at the same time as me. And they said, but you could pay like half of us. We already got like 3 salary increases. And I became so mad that I basically said to my boss, either you give me, you know, I'm equal to the bands of them. They are not even in a revenue facing position. Give me the same salary as them and you raise me up in the bands of my position. Or you can finish the job yourself. You know, it's just not for me. It's fair that you criticize that I'm not good at things, but certain small things. But I deliver tenfold their value to the company. And in the end, he was forced to do so, and I had a salary increase, and I had the right level. So at that, and it was not really that I thought that I worked too much or anything, because I'm ready to do that. But it needs to be fair somehow. And I did have the biggest position of all the 3 of us who were discussing, and we had the same career. Anyway, so another, you know, just a few things that you experience in your career. When I got my first VP position, I was traveling. I had a North European position. I traveled to meet my CEOs in the countries that were reporting to me, and I came to one country. And I was walking around in the corridors looking for the meeting room. And I came in and there was like 3 gentlemen, normally as in the suit as normal. And one of them turned to me and said in his own language, which I understood, I don't understand what the coffee and, you know, the catering should have been here. Will you go and get it? And I thought, well, okay, I'm going to get the catering. So I went and took this little wagon and took it in with the coffee and the cakes. And I sat down and he looked at me and I said, hi, I guess you are Tom. So I'm your new boss. And of course, he was super embarrassed. But for him, I was a little lady walking in 20 years ago. And apparently I could not be the boss. So I must be the lady with the coffee. Honestly, I didn't take it personal. I mean, I felt sorry for him because he must have been so embarrassed. And he was a very good CEO and we managed very well, you know, going forward. And I will give you some advices on how to handle these situations, because sometimes we have to also realize that we are all biased. No matter what we say, even I am biased. We are all biased. We can fight our biases, but, you know, just take it light, be robust and continue. If you know you're good, you'll get there, and you will also manage your career much better than if you you take these small things personal. So, looking at how is this really playing out for women in tech? Well, 1 out of 5 women are ICT experts. And I would say that's on a good day, because when you see the differences between the different roles, the really, hardcore specialists in AI, etc., there are even fewer women, all the way down to 5%. So we really need to look at how these cool jobs, data analysts, AI specialists, cybersecurity specialists, we lack so many, and it's such a fun job. It's like being a detective, finding solutions, innovating health solutions, making a greener environment. How can we use less energy? How can we basically motivate women to become ICT specialists at a much, much earlier stage? I think many women say like, well, math is not for me and it's too difficult and I don't understand. Maybe it's the way that we're teaching it. Maybe if we did it much more with use cases and how you can use technologies, it would be much easier to understand some of these things. So different kind of teaching and also much more women in these. So I should say here, 20 million ICT specialists, it should be trained until 2030 if we have to keep up with any kind of innovation in Europe. We are lacking 300 cyber security specialists. Every day it gets more and more complex. And just imagine that job as being a detective, a technical detective looking for bad guys that can basically, really protect the democracies that we live in. I really hope that we'll see much more women there. Well, looking at business and tech in general, we still have an issue, even though we have a lot of, as you saw before, cool female CEOs. The overall percentage is still on 8%. 8% is just too little. Well, we can discuss forever, why is that, right? 13% of senior management in tech, and they earn 13% less than men. Why is that? I would say maybe from a personal standpoint and not being super academic around it, I would say women take less chances. If we're not perfect, we don't, take the risk of somebody telling us that we're not good or this delivery is bad. We have too much, perfection, and sometimes just saying, well, it's not good enough. I'll change it. I'll try next time. Try again. Trial, error. Take more chances. And it's, of course, both on the mothers and the fathers to teach their younger children to not be afraid of making mistakes, to not being afraid of taking critical feedback as a compliment of somebody spending time on them. And then, of course, can be a little bit rough. I mean, many girls are taught that the world is a good place and we need to do the right thing, whereas boys play football and, sometimes they get tackled or kicked or, which we are told that this is not the right thing to do. Well, surprise, surprise, life is not fair and life is not always easy. So we also need to be more robust, and we can take the space that we deserve as women because we are equally, if not better educated. And we definitely know how to innovate and be creative and make solutions out of data and AI if we just have the competences. So what did I do about this? First, actually, the first female community I founded when I became the president of the Danish IT Association. And actually, before that, because I discovered I was in a management event as one of the female CEOs, we were two amongst 250 male CEOs. We were two women. And we kind of fast found each other and was discussing, what can we do about this? And, what do you do? Let's talk. And we decided to outreach to the 13 CEOs in the whole country that was CEOs in Denmark at that time. And we gathered this female, leaders in tech community, which still exists today in the organization of ITB. And it really helped. I ended up many years later becoming the president, implementing guidelines for diversity in the board, and ended up 50-50 men and women at the board. And today there is a female CEO. And at this time, there is a male president, but before that, a female president. A bit the same here in Digital Europe. We looked at the same, looked at our board, implemented guidelines, and we have 50-50 men and women in our board today. The staff I have today in Digital Europe is 50-50 men and women at all levels. And I think that's where you can make a difference. Make it happen where you can. And make sure that you also, of course, treat men equally, but that you give the opportunities to the best and to the brightest, and that the acknowledgement of needing the diversity in the team. Another thing I did, or my team did, under the leadership of Helena, my current COO and legal and HR responsible, we ran the program of Women for IT, where we re-educated 900 young women, in these countries that you see below, from either being unemployed or from other administrative jobs into becoming ICT specialists. And it was quite amazing to see that 70% of the trainees found employment after 3 months after graduation and others became self-employed. Really a high ratio of success. So wherever we go, let's make sure that we fight for equality for women and for men, and that we make sure that there is a balance in our teams and that we create equal opportunity for the employees that we have. So a few career tips from me. Choose a sector that represents the future. It's always more fun. And I must say that when I chose tech, it was mostly about, should we have a mainframe or a PC? Right now, we are innovating solutions that will save the planet. We can bring down CO2 with 20% just by using AI in the basic solutions that we have today in buildings and agriculture, etc. So we are really shaping the future with tech today. Second of all, do not take it personal. People are biased, and there's some people that you cannot move. For them, you will always be like a woman or a girl or whatever it is. You cannot change their perspective. It's their mistake. It's not your mistake. So don't take it personal. Shake it off and continue. If you're a bright young lady, why would you listen to them? Thirdly, I would say be ready to make sacrifices. If you want a big career, if you want to become a CEO or, a CTO, well, it's probably going to be long working hours. And, I can't take this parents' school meeting and these kind of sacrifices. There will be trade-offs. Be ready to take them. And don't think that it will be, mean the end of the world for your family, because you are also the role model for your own daughters to basically see themselves in the careers and making those sacrifices without feeling that the world is falling apart. Be robust. It's just a game. Look at it like a football match. It's all about, and you can actually change the game. I think I managed to change the game in Digital Europe. We have men, we have women, we have all kinds of ages. We have 36 different nationalities. There is really a room for being diverse. So actually succeeding also means that you can change the game. Collect great, loyal people around you. A lot of women, when we get children or, we talk about personal stuff, which is good, but you need people, professional colleagues around you. Collect them in your career. Make sure that you recognize the people that will support you, who you learn from, who you can, give your knowledge to, and make sure that you keep your contacts with them all the way through the career, also when you are on maternity leave. Yes, hard skills are needed. I'm sorry, math might be difficult, but, you need some hard skills, whether that is, accounting or, tech skills, or it's not that you have to be the best really, because there are many other things and ways to be good in your career time. But it would be good to have some kind of hard skills in your life, because that's where you can start drawing the perspectives between hard skills and soft skills and innovations, etc. And it opens up a full new language and world to know about data, to know about AI, to know about coding. Again, you don't need to be necessarily a specialist, but some hard skills are very good to have. I hope that you enjoyed my speech and that you will be a little bit motivated to join the tech environment. We need you. We need you to contribute to better health solutions, fighting cancer, fighting hunger, fighting climate change, making innovative solutions for transportation, for how we control resources, how we can actually track toxins, etc. So there's a lot to do out there, and I hope that you will also find the tech industry very interesting. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening, everyone.